Miss Mackey, can you hear us?
I can now. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We were muted. You weren't the one muted.
Okay, I'm going, hello.
And we talked just like an hour ago.
I know.
Susie,
Yes.
you want me to bring this packet to you when I come home tonight?
Yes, please.
It's the printed version of what I sent out to you.
Oh, I definitely want that. Thank you, Kelly.
Ready? So we're still, Alan's, oh yeah, Alan is here. Okay. Are we ready?
Can we wait just one more minute? I got the water guys about to walk in.
Okay.
Sorry.
Need to tell them to be on time.
Well, Enon was shut down because we had a vehicle run into the bridge head on
Oh,
Enon. So,
Oh, down.
yeah, down by Chambers. Yes. Not injured, no injuries, but all four tires are flat and it was in the middle of the road. So
The Anita Bridge.
I wasn't going to say that, but yes, sir. That's the one.
The what?
The Anita Bridge.
Oh,
Well, I said it.
Good evening, Alan. How are you?
I'm good. I can hear you now. That helps.
Well, obviously you're not going to make it. So
Oh. Well, my truck's repaired, so I'm in good shape.
put it somewhere. Well, Susan, I tried to start on time.
That's okay. Catching up on, I just got home from work a few minutes ago. So I'm catching up on phone texts. And happy about Governor Abbott's little news bit today.
Now, is this where we fire them all?
Yes.
Come on in, guys, so we can get started. We ready?
Yes.
All right, I will call the work session / special meeting to order for Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021. Some members of city council may participate via telephone or video conference. A quorum may or may not be physically present in the city council chambers. Texas Government Code 551.127A-2. Citizens wishing to make comments should email mcparks80@gmail.com, mcparks80@gmail.com. Citizens' comments received prior to the meeting adjourned will be read to the council. So item 1 is presentation, city manager.
Good evening. I have asked our illustrious water guys up here this evening, mainly because I wanted to recognize them. I have a letter of commendation here for these guys. I also have a letter of commendation for the street department, who I plan to recognize tomorrow, and for the other city staff as well. So all those gentlemen are going to get the same recognition tonight. But I wanted to read this letter of commendation to you as a city council and recognize them in front of you. The letter states, on February 13th, 2021, the city of Everman began to experience a multi-day significant winter weather event unlike any other that we have seen before. This weather event lasted several days, ultimately resulting in nearly 6 inches of snow and ice accumulation, along with temperatures that hovered near 0 degrees overnight and wind chills well into the sub-zero mark. As a result of the accumulation and prolonged low temperatures, the city of Everman suffered significant damage to its infrastructure, specifically transportation, water, and sewer systems. This damage included iced over roadways, multiple water supply main breaks, multiple water pump booster failures, electrical system failures, and frozen lines, and much more. Over these several days, I cannot express to you just how impressed I was with you and the entire Public Works Department. I appreciate the camaraderie and teamwork that was displayed between the Streets Department and Water Department to achieve common goals. I watched as you worked long hours with little or no breaks, and sometimes even overnight hours in extremely dangerous and life-threatening temperatures. Regardless of these extreme conditions, you worked hard, never complained, and it became evident to me that the citizens of Everman who rely upon these critical infrastructure services were always your top priority. Therefore, on behalf of the city of Everman, all residents, and myself, I would like to commend you and your selfless actions and dedication to our city.
You got to give a speech, Ryan. You got 10 minutes.
I don't know how they managed to do it in that cold weather.
Yeah,
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
This one. How did y'all keep warm in that cold weather?
we didn't.
He's not gonna lie, we did. Oh, man. Look at those little bunnies. Kitty cats.
Seriously, good job. I appreciate it.
Good job, guys. Outstanding.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for all you've done.
These guys really did. I mean, they worked their tails off, and over
Yeah, I
the
know.
4 or 5 days didn't complain once. You could truly tell that their priorities were in the right place, and
I was
they were-
numb, so
they
they couldn't
cared.
say anything.
That's true too. Yes, ma'am.
Their tongues were frozen. Their mouths were frozen shut.
You said you were doing the other ones tomorrow?
Yes, I'm gonna do the other ones tomorrow. The street department here, where the other city employees can see them, so they don't feel
Okay.
left out, since we can't all get together all at once.
Awesome. Okay.
It's up to you guys if y'all want to stay and see how local government works. If you don't, you don't have to hang around.
All right.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Yeah, if you want.
Okay, item 3 is discussion items. Discussion regarding capital improvement plan, item number 21070.
As you all are pretty well aware, we started working on a capital improvement plan when I was appointed as a city manager back in August. One of the things I wanted to look at and research was what kind of planning effort we had made historically. I found the City of Everman Comprehensive Plan that was adopted back in July of 2015. This is an 18-page plan that says nothing. And I know I'm being kind of ugly, and it's not your fault by any means, but
This was prior to us.
we had contracted apparently with a planning firm that pretty much put together an 18-page document for somewhere in the ballpark of $8,000 that consisted of census data, inaccurate future land use data, and a plan that said we needed a plan, because that's literally what the capital improvement plan within this plan says, is that we should have a capital improvement plan. So this plan was horrible. We upgraded from that.
So we can
And-
throw that one away if we still have that.
Yes, we have upgraded from that
Good.
to, since then, the city upgraded from that to an Excel spreadsheet that kind of identified some different target areas. One of the problems I had with that method is it didn't offer a few things, one of which was director input. There wasn't much director input on what was needed within each department. There wasn't much guidance from the department level on what's needed. And I think it's important to reach out to the staff, the directors, and get that input. What kind of equipment's needed? What do you need to be able to do your job and do it efficiently? The other thing that the capital improvement plan previously didn't ask for was citizen input outside of us. And that's where the Planning and Zoning Commission came into effect, and why we took this before the Planning and Zoning Commission first was to get that citizen feedback on these projects and ideas and kind of get some other influence, outside influence on what was important to everybody in Everman. Not just the council, not just the staff, try to get some outside influence on that. So the way we went about it is I sat and we had a meeting with all the directors, and each director was tasked with going out and submitting their ideas and projects. Essentially what I told them was, if you had all the money in the world, what do you need? What equipment do you need? Or what staffing do you need? Or what does the city need to do for you to be able to do your job better and improve the quality of services that we provide to the citizens? So the directors over the next couple of months went out and did a whole bunch of research and were submitting these projects. If you notice, this is a 116-page capital improvement plan that I sent out by email, and I also have printed copies here for you tonight. And Ms. Mackey and Ms. Allen will be sure to get those delivered to you tomorrow, so you have a printed copy as well. You'll actually be able to see the workbooks that the directors went through and completed. Each director had to justify the need for their project. They had to explain the duration of their project, potential funding options for their project, and how they felt their project was necessary for the public. Pretty much they had to go through and do some research and plan the project from point A to Z as if we were about to purchase it. These projects were then submitted to both Susan and I, and we would review them and make sure that they were eligible capital projects. We would then take each one of these projects, and the director would present these projects to the Planning and Zoning Commission. They would essentially have to defend their project or present their project to the P&Z board, who reviewed over 45 different projects at the start of this thing and started ranking them on how they felt these projects should be ranked based on certain categories. If you look on this capital improvement plan on page 3, it talks a little bit about the Planning and Zoning Commission. Down at the bottom are your different categories for these projects. They're ranked as urgent, which means it cannot be delayed. It's likely needed for health and safety. Committed would mean that we're contractually obligated to it already. It's an ongoing project. Necessary, it's needed to maintain existing level of quality of community services. Desirable, deferrable, research, and inconsistent, pretty much just goes down the line from there. The first couple of pages just talk about what a CIP is, the purpose of a CIP, the importance of a CIP. And then we move on to goals. So as we went through these workshop meetings, we had several of them. We were meeting every 2 weeks with the P&Z Commission. I asked them what was their main goal, what was important to them as members of the community, and these are the things that they highlighted. First and foremost was improve the city infrastructure, particularly related to transportation and water service. Improve the safety and well-being of citizens and residents through improved public safety services, for example, police, fire, and emergency medical services. Provide more venues and attractions within the city for family-friendly entertainment and activities, for example, neighborhood fishing ponds, entertainment district, etc. And then have more essential services available to residents within the city, for example, pharmacies, financial institutions, medical facilities, and so forth. As we've gone through these projects, they've kept a lot of these things in mind and really had an opportunity to put forth their vision and where they feel like the city should go. After completing a review of every single project and ranking all these projects and then going back and reviewing them again, we've compiled a list of how these projects are ranked to present to you as their recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission for you to consider and adopt as our capital improvement plan. The capital improvement plan, when you go to accept this, doesn't mean that you're spending all this money next year. This is a guide for the city. This is a guide for not only city council, but city staff over the next several years to use as to give us a direction on where we're going. What is most important? What goals do we need to achieve? I think that's one area that we as a city have lacked on. And one of the things I talked about back in August with the directors is that we don't know if we're successful or not as a city unless we are setting goals and either achieve those goals or don't achieve them. And that's what this is. This is a goal setting for us. It provides a direction to the city staff and it provides direction to you to move forward when making budgetary decisions. We're not going to go through all the different projects tonight. I don't expect to go through all 45. I just wanted to briefly cover the document with you and explain it and give you an opportunity to review it. If you would like to see the director's submission that went before P&Z, they're attached behind there. They're in alphabetical order, so you can find them a little easier based off the project name. When next week, I plan to bring this as an item for approval and adoption of the capital improvement plan. And I just want to point out a couple of things. There's one last paragraph prior to the listing of the projects. It talks about budgetary considerations. This correlates directly with our budget. On here, when we do capital projects, almost every capital project is funded through a specific fund. Most capital projects aren't funded through general fund. We fund them through crime control district funds or grants or TIF zones, economic development. That's where we get the majority of our capital projects from. So that's why I listed our revenue, budgeted revenue for this year, as well as the current reserve balance. One thing I just want to point out, I don't want to get into the water rate discussion now, but that we already know we've had that discussion, discussion's coming up. There's several water department projects on here that include water line replacement projects. As you all know, these water line replacement projects they're not inexpensive. They're very expensive to deal with. If you look at the second item on here, it talks about budgeted water and sewer fund revenue is $1,857,067. Just to give you an idea, our budgeted expenses for this budget year is exactly $1,857,067. I'm sorry, $1,857,067. That is a zero balanced budget with the water fund. We are not attributing funds. We don't have it within the budget right now to attribute any funds to a water and sewer reserve. Right now, we only have $10,000 sitting in our water and sewer reserve account. That's something that was brought up in years past that we're trying to continue to address. Susan and I have been talking recently about it. We'd like to see if we can't set it up in the future to attribute funds towards that reserve so we can build those funds up. So when we have things like what happened here recently with the winter storm, we can address those without having to worry about significant budget impacts and how we're going to continue to move forward. So that's just one thing I'd like for you to keep in mind as you review this is specifically the water fund and the water department related projects. And I only say that because in addition to the CIP, we're also about to address next week the water rates. So these two kind of go hand in hand. Again, I don't want to go off into the water rates, but it's important to correlate those two together. The projects are listed by their urgency. Again, these are just the recommendations from the Planning and Zoning Commission. As you review these projects, if there is an amendment that you would like to change to the CIP, you're the city council, you have that authority to do so. And we can certainly address that next week as we go through some of these projects. Next week, I would like to have all the directors from the departments here at the meeting, just so if you have a specific question about a project, you can get the answer straight from the horse's mouth instead of me trying to translate it for you, because I'm not the one that submitted these projects, the directors are. So as we go through this, if there's a project that kind of sticks out, you want to ask a specific question about, I'd like to have the directors here to be able to answer those questions for you. In the PDF copy that I emailed out, if you click on the PDF picture, I'm sorry, the JPEG pictures or the PDFs, like the quotes and estimates and maps, those will actually come up for you on the computer. Unfortunately, I don't have all those printed out because that would have probably added about 100 more pages to the document. So those aren't printed out yet. This is one chapter of the comprehensive plan that we are working on all together. So we're just checking off one box to that comprehensive plan. We still have to address, which this was the comprehensive plan. We still have to address master thoroughfare. We still have to address future land use, existing land use, potential ordinances that council and planning and zoning would like to see in the future. Those kinds of things will also be addressed in that comprehensive plan once it's all finalized. We're just having to go kind of one chapter at a time to get it all done. Any questions?
Do you anticipate a time that you'll have a completed plan?
I would think by summer. The capital improvement plan is the most in-depth, difficult part of it. The master thoroughfare and the future land use, we've pretty much got those designated. The problem with the future land use plan in here is they didn't correlate the future land use plan here with our actual zoning that we have in place. So that needs to be corrected. I don't think that'll be too difficult to do. We did get some help with our GIS and mapping. We have a gentleman that's a friend of mine who's helping us out on the back end on improving our mapping capabilities. So we should be able to get that fixed pretty quickly.
This is Johnny.
Yes,
Is the sign added that's at the library? Is that part of the part of the project?
It is not, but I can request Billy to research that and submit that as a project. The other thing I probably should have mentioned too is this is not a static document. This is a very fluid document. The capital improvement plan can be updated at any point in time, and we should be updating it at least once annually and presented to council by the charter requirement before December. So we're going to review this annually and continue to update it. So there are going to be a lot of projects that come up and ideas that come up that aren't in this plan. That doesn't mean we can't put them into the plan. We can continue to add on to this plan and develop it as we move forward.
Okay, we've already got an estimate on how much it would cost to repair that, correct?
It is repaired right now. It is functional. The only reason why it's not on is because of the damage to the library from the flood. We've had to disconnect the power, and we now have contractors inside, which I'm going to cover more of that too under my city manager's report. We have contractors inside working on the library right now.
In one of your reports, you mentioned something about a Brazos project and a project manager. Is that part of this?
No, ma'am. The Brazos project is the ticket writers that were approved through the CARES Act funding back about 2 months ago. I think it was about 2 months ago. We came to council and requested approval to utilize CARES Act funding and the municipal court technology fund to move forward with the Brazos technology ticket writer program.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks.
So
Yes, ma'am.
we should anticipate having parts of the comprehensive plan every month
Yes.
until
Yes.
it's completed.
This one has been a beast of a plan to work on. We have been working on this one since we've been meeting with planning and zoning since October. and submitting these projects. And so even before that, directors were working on submitting these projects and doing the research. So we even met as most recently as last night. P&Z approved this as a draft to recommend to city council last night. So.
My next question is regarding the metro. Is that included in the CIP plan?
No, ma'am, because the Metro program is grant funded through an outside program. There's no need
Right.
for us to look and review review that as a CIP project. And to be honest with you, we scheduled a meeting with them, but it got canceled and we haven't heard back from them. So we need to follow up on that. And I'll make a note to follow up with them on the Metro plan, because the last time we had talked, it was going to be an on-demand style service. And I have not heard back since. And I know that there's some changes happening with the county administrative staff right now, so it may be secondary to that. But I'll follow up with them and see where we're at and keep you updated in my report to you.
Anything else on the comprehensive or capital improvement plan?
I have a question. On
Yeah.
the urgent projects in each department, is that the order of importance that they listed?
No.
Okay.
So it's not specifically in any kind of order other than they're categorized by projects.
Okay.
One thing to consider when you look at the funding sources on the right, different projects have different potential funding sources for them. Water projects can be funded by the Water and Sewer Fund. Street projects can be funded by the Street Improvement Tax Fund. Police projects can be funded by the Crime Control District Fund. So there's all kinds of different funding opportunities out there. What this does is it provides guidance for us as we go to do our budget. In the middle of the year, we'll start working on our budget process. We look at this and say, what can we achieve with the funds that we have? And where do we lack and what's most important? Ultimately, the most important decision or which project is most important is going to be up to you as city council. And it's going to weigh heavily on what we can afford at the time. There also may be times in the middle of the year where we find a grant opportunity or we find an alternative funding opportunity. Tarrant County has come in before in the middle of the year and told us, hey, we have some funding. We're going to fund a project for you. So we might be able to check off one of these boxes. So this just keeps us on point. It keeps us going in the right direction, targeting what's most important to our citizens and you as city council.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else?
On these projects that are on here, have some of them been started or?
I don't believe any of these have been started.
Okay,
These-
no, okay, for instance, like this Caterpillar thing, has that now already been purchased?
No, that's we purchased a backhoe. This is a skid steer. It's a much smaller piece of equipment that would allow them to get into smaller areas and parks and things to scoop up dirt and move it. Yeah.
Okay, also regarding say for instance, like regarding the memorial, it's 148,000. Is that's not what's already been put toward that?
No, this is for the parking lot. So this will be in addition to, this is the parking lot that's located between the Pee Wee football field and the Memorial Park right there, right?
Okay.
And there's no funds that have been allocated towards that.
Anything else? Okay, we're going to close that discussion item. We're going to move down to item 4, consideration possible action. I'm gonna need some help with this, Richard, on your last name.
Yeah.
Consideration and action to approve the appointment of Richard.
Why don't
What
you come
he
on up
said.
here and say that?
Without the Yeah, right, yeah. It's
What
a
is it
Richard Isarraras.
Okay,
Or you can say how my daughter tells her teachers, I Isarraras, that's easier, yeah.
I would butcher it. So,
How about Richard I?
That works,
you
yeah.
but to approve Richard
I,
to the Community Development Corporation Board. This is an action item.
I'll make a motion, we approve Richard I to the Community Development Board.
I second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Just keep in mind, one of our members had passed away Margaret Sides a
Yes.
while back, and that
Yes.
position has not been filled. So,
Mayor, I just would like to add, just from my experience, Richard also serves on our Planning and Zoning Commission. He's one of the ones who's been reviewing the 45 different projects. He's provided a lot of good input, and he's also a local business owner as well. So with his business mind, I think he'd be a great addition to our EDC.
any questions, comments? Would you poll the council?
Place one.
Aye.
Place two.
Aye.
Place three.
Aye.
Place four.
Aye.
Place five.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Welcome.
You gonna swear me
Thank
in,
you,
or
thank you.
get you sworn in and you're official?
All right,
All right, sir. Just raise your right hand.
all right.
I state your name.
I, Richard Isaredas,
See, I didn't say it. Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of
of
Community Development Corporation
Community Development Corporation
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right.
You are official.
Sign right here. Oh, that was quick.
That's it.
That's it.
All right.
Congratulations or
Appreciate it,
condolences. I'm not
appreciate
sure which. Yeah. You got more work now.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, next item, executive session pursuant to section 551.071, chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Council reserves the right to convene into executive sessions from time to time as deemed necessary during this meeting to receive advice from its attorney on any posted agenda item as permitted by law. Additionally, council may convene into executive session to discuss the following: pending or contemplated litigation, or to seek the advice of city attorney pursuant to section 551.071. Discussion regarding possible purchase, sale, exchange, lease, or value of real property pursuant to section 551.072. Personnel matters pursuant to section 551.074. Item 1 is board and commission members. Item number 21069. Is that good, Alan?
Oh, you're muted, Judge.
Yes, that is sufficient.
Okay, so we've gone to executive session. If you guys just hold on for a minute and let us get off line. Craig, are we okay with everybody?